There are times where I just want to chill. I love video games, but sometimes they get a little bit hectic and I might just not be in the mood for that. Maybe I had a very stressful day or just too much coffee, who knows. But luckily, there are actually some games that are quiet and calm, but still very engaging and fun. And today I would like to talk about 5 of those games. If you know about any more games that fit these criteria, let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking forward to read your ideas and suggestions. And while you're on it, don't forget to like the video. Thanks. Did you ever wish you were just far away from society? Away from all the worries, just taking in nature and its beauty in all its forms? Well, this is basically the premise of Firewatch, if there is any. Firewatch is probably the first walking simulator that I played. It's a type of game that by definition does not have a lot of actual gameplay. You literally just walk from one place to another, taking in the scenery, the art, and often the story. Those kind of games never really intrigued me that much, since I thought this sounds exactly like the things that I hate in so many other games. But with Firewatch, I just really liked the artwork, so I thought I'd just give it a try. And it really makes a difference if those little things, the walking, the backtracking, are not distracting you from any other gameplay, but they are the gameplay. It feels intentional and meaningful and is interwoven with the downtime you need to actually take a look at what is all around you. Now, I am sure Firewatch is not the first walking simulator game, or somehow defines the genre, or even redefines it by doing something completely out of the ordinary. But it is a very beautiful example, and due to the art style and the mood it is able to create, probably the most notable one. It is also probably the game that introduces most players to this genre, and for a good reason. Not just is the story interesting enough to hook you without immediately filling you with intense amounts of adrenaline, every problem ends up being satisfyingly resolved. But also because the mix of music and visuals is simply breathtaking. If there is any game where you can just stop at any random place, make a screenshot, and it would work perfectly as a desktop wallpaper, that's probably Firewatch. I started playing Palia because many people that I talk to on threads seem to enjoy the game a lot. And truth be told, the concept behind the game is quite interesting. While its game loop is a mix of an MMO and a survival game, you have a plot of land and you can build yourself a home there. But in order to do so, you have to gather a lot of resources, while at the same time you have a quest line that you can follow to unravel the mysteries of the land you've been dropped in. The main selling point of the game is that you simply cannot die. Like, there is no real enemies that can hurt you. You can fall off cliffs, but if you do, you just get transported to the nearest edge. And you don't really lose any progress over it. There is a food system, but if you're hungry, you don't lose any health. You just can't work as fast. As you can imagine, this simple fact takes a lot of stress out of playing. You literally can only progress. I admit that at times that becomes a bit boring since there are no stakes, but for an easy and chill evening, it's actually very fitting. I wouldn't call the story anything special, but it's also not bad. The characters are well designed and interesting. Every NPC has a story and is actually a character that inhabits the space, not just a randomly generated person, which is something that I personally like a lot in video games. The world is very pretty and has a lot of things to discover if you just take the time to explore a little bit. If you go through the story, you will also see some dungeons, which are basically a handful of puzzles and exploration sections. Once again, nothing that blew my mind, but I don't think the game aims to do that anyway. The game is free to play and you can get it on PC or Switch, but I would avoid the Switch version if you can. Palia is just not well enough optimized for this specific hardware, and you might end up having some troubles. The PC version though runs very smooth. In Sky, you explore a once thriving kingdom by using a special cape that allows you to fly. The game world has 7 unique realms, each representing different stages of life and offering various areas to explore. Your adventure basically begins on a small island called Home, which also serves as the main hub of the game. As you journey through the world, you'll come across spirits that help you unlock items in exchange for in-game currency. There are also children of light that provide you with winged light, which is material to upgrade your cape and allowing you to fly even further. Like many games on this list, Sky Children of Light is a very nice and beautiful game just to explore, but the main focus of the game is on social interaction. Players can meet and befriend other players, which can unlock new abilities as the friendship between those people grows. I think this is actually quite an interesting idea for a game, since it rewards interaction and connecting with other people. Now, I totally understand that some people prefer to play by themselves. I also don't like to interact with other players too much if I'm playing a bigger or more complex game, because it allows me to focus on what is actually going on. However, in Sky, these social interactions are such a big part of the main gameplay that it kind of makes sense and doesn't feel out of place. One thing I have to point out is that certain things in the game are locked behind a real-world money paywall, which was a bit of a bummer for me personally, since it ripped me out of the immersion the game was so carefully trying to build up. But other than that, Sky is definitely also a game worth checking out. It would be hard for me to make a list of cozy games without mentioning Minecraft, since for a long time this was my top game to just lay back and power down. Now, while it might seem a bit stressful at first glance, there are some annoying mobs like creepers that just pop out of nowhere, and there are times where you just happen to fall into lava and all the gear that you spent hours to acquire is just gone forever. Those occasions are actually not that frequent if you have played the game a little bit and play it alone. Also, the difficulty is adaptable, and in the worst case you just play the game in creative mode, where you cannot really die and you don't even have to look for resources, you just build. Also, I am quite sure that the soundtrack of Minecraft is actually the reason why the relaxing music tag in some audio libraries even exists. It is just so good at pulling you down and making you forget things. Seriously, it's almost like hypnosis. The fact that the whole world is just made out of little blocks might seem a bit childish at first, since it does kind of remind you of playing with Lego bricks, but you get used to that pretty quickly, and it does have its own kind of charm. A nostalgic kind of charm. Maybe just because it is so much like being a child and playing with building blocks. And if that is not really your cup of tea, Minecraft is actually very mod friendly, since from the very beginning the game has been programmed in a way that makes it really easy to add things to it. So it is not very hard to find additional shaders or add-ons that completely change your experience with the game. The most intriguing part about Minecraft is, however, that you can do whatever you want. There are almost no limits to your creativity. The only activity that brought me as close to this feeling was when I started learning programming. If you like making things, Minecraft is definitely a game that you will enjoy. Dorfromantik is a very straightforward landscape building puzzle game. You get a number of random hexagonal tiles representing forests, rivers, villages, and so on that you have to combine together to create a landscape. You get points for certain combinations, and sometimes you are pointed to do quests, like making a river of a certain length or making a village of a certain size, just to give you a goal and to give you the possibility to get more tiles to play. When your tiles run out, the game ends. Dorfromantik received a lot of really good feedback for being very accessible, easy to learn, but still having enough complexity to keep you playing for more than just one session. And I personally think that is the game's strongest point. It's a very creative experience in the best sense possible. You only build and never break or destroy anything, which is an interesting concept since, yes, it comes with its own challenges, but mastering those challenges feels actually very rewarding. I like those kind of puzzle games because for me, those games are the easiest way to make me forget about the time I'm spending playing. And Dorfromantik combines that with a very serene atmosphere that fits very well with the topic of calming you down, being a nice experience for a not very stressful time. It is also definitely a game that I would suggest you check out. And there you have it. 5 nice and quiet games that still keep you entertained if you're just not in the mood for too much adrenaline. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date with any future videos that I make. You can also follow me on Threads, where I post some more spontaneous thoughts, or leave me a comment underneath this video to tell me about what you liked and what you didn't. Other than that, have a great day and see you in the next video. Bye bye.